First up, accept my warmest gratitude in keeping this flame of excellence in education going on, even when half of the world is under lockdown. People like Dr. Jahan, Dr. Sultanov, and Dr. Tamai are the beacons of hope that this journey of research and innovation in education will continue, come what may. To many tech junkies like me, this pandemic couldn't have come at a moment any better. The exponential growth of technology in instruction that the world has seen in the last few months has not been seen in the last many decades, because this was a necessity. This was inevitable. In March of 2020, we were called to hurried conference calls and told, from tomorrow you'll be teaching from home. What? But I have a crappy Wi-Fi at home. Or I only have a camera that shows me like I'm filming some grainy movie in the 70s. Bottom line is, we were all sent home to work from. The technology hardware issues aside, the biggest chasm in this new instructional setting was the sudden disappearance of that in-person effect that was the spirit and lifeblood of higher education. The faculty, as far as I know, were never trained on how to mimic that in-person effect for online teaching. And this is the topic of my conversation today: how to promote presence in online instruction. And with presence, when we are talking about presence in online teaching, we ought to look at this presence from two different aspects. The first, the presence must mimic the presence of the setting, the presence of the actors, the presence of the instructor, the audience, the students. This all setting must mimic the on-campus setting or on-campus presence, because the way human mind acquires knowledge or acquires skills remains the same whether you are teaching it in person or whether you're teaching it online. So, in order to mimic that on-campus setting or on-site presence or in-class setting, the instructor presence is the fundamental prerequisite. And what do we mean by instructor presence? Instructor presence means the instructor must look live, like he's there. Technology can help. Technology can help amplify that presence. The right tools of technology are required to augment or to amplify that presence, the instructor presence, in order for students to feel that they are sitting right in front of the instructor, right in front of the teacher, the professor. That requires some certain fundamentals of technology, that you need to have a camera with the right kind of resolution, so that when the person is looking at it, even on a device, whether it's a mobile device or a desktop device or a large screen TV, that they should be able to see it as clearly as possible. And along with the high resolution camera, what's important is the adequate, ample daylight kind of a lighting, so that, again, this is to mimic, because remember that we are trying to set the stage for on-campus setting in a distant learning environment. And in a moment, I'll show you my setup, which is a little bit of investment. We're not talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. We're talking about a small amount of investment, even if you're teaching from home or from your home office or from your kitchen or from your office, wherever you're teaching from. A small investment in the right tools of technology can help amplify the instructor presence. And now I'll show you briefly what my setup looks like. If you look at this, I have this a light setup here. There are two lights of this size that show here. There's another light here, and then I'm looking at you not on a small screen TV. I'm looking at you on a computer screen. I'm looking at you on a large screen TV. So this is how I'm looking at my students, on a large screen TV. And the purpose behind me is a green screen, which you're looking at as a green screen, and that's what I have my presentation on. You can have your presentations also displayed on a green screen. The purpose of this kind of a setup is so that students feel that I'm right there and I'm not sitting on a chair. This is not how it works on campus. The presence of a teacher is felt when the professor, when the teacher is walking among the students. So this is exactly how we'll be displaying here. So I show you my setup here only to tell you that if you try to limit yourself to what was given by university or college or your school, built-in webcam and all that, that may not be enough to meet the requirements of extended distance learning. The extended amount, it could be fine, for a weekend session or two. But if you are to teach for longer periods of time, that transfer of skills, that transfer of knowledge, can happen only if there is a larger than usual presence. So here is another example. You can set up a large screen. If you can invest in a large screen TV, great and dandy. If you can't invest in a large screen TV, just a small $40-50 screen and a projector should be fine. I'm talking about at least 80 plus inches, 100 inch, and even more than that, so that you could see your students right there, and they could also see, just like they can see in a classroom setting. They should also be able to see your whiteboard or your blackboard, and also they could see you moving around and walking around among themselves. So this is the setting to amplify the instructor presence. And now the other aspect of this two-way interaction between the instructor and the student is the student presence. What we mean by student presence, we are talking about student be able to kind of copy or mimic your setup. So that means the students also have, if possible, large screen monitors in front of them and ample lighting for them, so that you could see their facial expressions, because your curiosity or their curiosity feeds off of your facial expressions and your motivation is fed by their facial expressions. So encourage students to sit in proper lighting, and if possible, to be able to see you on a large monitor instead of looking at a small monitor. So this is the usual setup here. I guess most students are okay with being in front of camera. I encourage. This is a problem, especially at the secondary school level, where there's a reluctance in students showing themselves on camera. But encourage students, to be able to show themselves on large screen monitors, so that you could see their consternations, and if there is some reluctance, and you could see it from there to adjust your lesson or your instruction accordingly. So although the online instruction is a growing field, is a very vast field, and it covers almost every aspect, we are talking about the use of virtual reality for full immersive experience. So hopefully you won't have to go to that length for extended periods of time. Still, I'm a great fan of virtual reality in education, but not for extended periods of time. But unfortunately, we have been stuck in this pandemic situation, and this was just first experience. Maybe we'll have hopefully we will not have any more experiences like these, but still, if need be there, we will be ready with the help of technology. So virtual reality being one, and then you have all different aspects wherein you can have simulated experiences, robotic experiences for your scientific subjects. So there's a lot that technology has provided in the last few years, and especially the last couple of months. So I'm very hopeful for the tools of instruction being available at a reasonably decent price, and will be within our reach. This is the only topic I chose for a presentation today. I thank the organization, the organizers of this conference, and the audience. Without your presence and without your contribution, without your comments, without your feedback, there can't be any innovation. So I thank all those who are present today for your contribution, for your 2 cents in continuing this flame of innovation and research in educational technology. Thank you very much.